True story. No glory. Let's go. Yeah, the old me used to love a Gemini. Like a threesome, messing with them every night. A lot of two-faced people show me both sides. So I figured out I gotta be my own type. They used to say to get a man, he had to know how to look. They used to say to keep a man, he had to know how to cook. But I'm solo and solo, sick and told you would matter. It's I be myself, kinda attitude. 'Cause I'm my own soul, babe. I know how to love, babe. I know that I'm always gonna hold me down. Yeah, I'm my own soul, babe. No, I'm never lonely. I know I'm a queen, but I don't need no crown. Then I'm here like, damn, she the one. Like, damn, she the one. That bitch in the mirror like, yeah, I'm in love. Like, yeah, look up in the mirror like, yeah. And she never tell me to exercise. We always get extra fries, and you know the sex is fine. And I gotta testify. I get flowers every Sunday. I'ma marry me one day. True love ain't something you can buy yourself. True love finally happens when you buy yourself. So if you buy yourself, then go and buy yourself another round from the bottle on the higher shelf. 'Cause I'm my own soul, babe. I know how to love, babe. I know that I'm always gonna hold me down. Yeah, I'm my own soul, babe. No, I'm never lonely. I know I'm a queen, but I don't need no crown. Then I'm here like, damn, she the one. She the one. Damn, she the one. That bitch in the mirror like, yeah, I'm in love. Like, yeah, I'm in love. Look up in the mirror like, damn, she the one.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking this opportunity to join us on your Saturday for the Power of We. My name is Erica Daly, and I am the current chair for the USF Black Alumni Society. The mission of the USF Black Alumni Society is to create lasting relationships between the University of South Florida, its Black students, Black alumni, and the community at a large. The Power of We is a collaboration we're excited to do with the Latino Alumni Society. Prior to us getting started, I just wanted to say a quick word regarding the Wisconsin unrest, which stemmed again from another police shooting. This is a systemic problem that continues to plague our community. In the words of Dr. Bernice King, we will not back down. We will eradicate racism with strategy, advocacy, education, coalitions, and protest. We as women have the power and the ability to change and heal our communities. This is not an issue that will be abolished overnight. It will take both long-term and short-term strategies running simultaneously for any progress to be made. What can we do? Because it's not a problem of what are you doing? It's what are we doing collectively to change this? The first thing you can do is join your local policing board. If there is not one, form one, shape one, monitor one. 2, get involved locally within your municipality. Vote both in local and presidential elections, and most importantly, hold those public officials accountable because they are public servants and they do work for us. We don't work for them. So together we can do this. And instead of this being another hashtag, another situation, let's change this. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Dr. Luz Randolph, who is the co-chair for the Latino Alumni Society. And we're going to kick off the Power of We, because we as women are empowered and we as women will and can change things. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica, for your words. Empowered women, empower women. That's something my mentor continues to tell me. So welcome, everyone. Good morning. My name is Dr. Luz Randolph. I am a double alumni of the University of South Florida, and I co-chair the USF Latino Alumni Society, whose purpose is to develop a network and sense of community, not only for our current bulls, our future bulls, but also enhance the representation of Latino alumni at the University of South Florida. On behalf of the USF Latino Alumni Society, I want to share with you all our support in any shape, any way that we can to support the cause together. Us as Black and Brown people need to stick together to make some things happen and change. And as women, have to stick together to figure out how we can make some change happen. And this is how this Power of We seminar got together, because we believe in the power of women. We believe in the power of our Black and Brown community. So without further ado, I want to introduce one of my favorite people in the whole entire world, Ms. Jessica Tanner. Jessica Tanner is a financial advisor from Northwestern Mutual, who, by the way, we want to thank for their sponsorship of giving us 15 free sessions. We will be giving those away, not raffling, but giving those away 15 free sessions to some of our panelists, so stay tuned on that. But Jessica Tanner is a financial advisor from Northwestern Mutual. She is a native Antiguan. I love that. I don't think I've ever met anyone from Antigua. She's also a USF alum, which I didn't even know about. And here are 3 things you should know about her. She is an advocate for financial empowerment amongst women of multicultural backgrounds, roots that stem from an island that boasts over 365 beaches, which I had no idea. I myself, I'm from Puerto Rico and no clue. And she is a lover of all food and family things. She has me at food and family. She's a fellow island girl. Jessica Tanner, we welcome you.
Oh, thank you, Erica and Luz. Thank you, Luz, for that amazing introduction. Thank everybody for being here. Thank you all for being here today. We greatly appreciate your time. Thank you to the USF Alumni Association, the Black Alumni Society, and the Latino Alumni Society for putting together this event. It is my honor to introduce today's panelists. We have an amazing group of women today. So in an effort to getting to know our panelists a bit more, we are not going to go through their incredible bios. Instead, we're going to introduce them with 3 facts that really describe them. Okay, so first, Lakendria Robinson. Lakendria likes to collect cookbooks native to the places that she travels to. Another fun fact about her is that admittedly, it wasn't until she became an adult that she realized that cats don't have 9 lives. Who knew? Because Lakendria, I'm pretty sure that I still believe cats have 9 lives too. And then, are you guys ready for this one? One of her most fond memories is playing in the rain with her husband one afternoon, and like they had a blast. So hashtag relationship goals, hashtag marriage goals. We'll go ahead. Dr. Nanette Vega, she loves extreme sports like skydiving. Almost like I want to close my ears to that, as you know, insurance purposes, but she loves to travel, and she's a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. Next, we have Jackie Stiff, who has 3 gorgeous daughters. If you guys haven't already followed her on Instagram, please do so. But she loves to empower women through her social media, and she likes to juice, in particular, celery juice. Okay, then we have Beverly Andre. She met her husband as a resident in the Forum Andros Complex, Capitol Hall. She loves the Queen, and we all know who the Queen is. We're talking about Queen Bee here, Beyonce. And she loves to look up recipes and cooks as well. Here we go, Bemitra Simmons. She grew up in 10 states in 3 countries. She's an avid golfer, and she loves to grill. So I guess my question to you, Bemitra, is like, when am I coming over? Last but not least is Rachel Keene. She likes to participate in competitive boxing and fitness competitions. She's a huge advocate of healthy living through plant-based lifestyle, and she loves to spoil her 5 nephews and nieces, and 1 niece. Welcome and thank you all again. Before we begin today, I just want to go over and just remind you of some logistics, some housekeeping items. Each of you panelists are going to have about 5 to 7 minutes to share your story, your topic, your journey. Your time is going to begin immediately after the poll question. So for our attendees, there is going to be a poll question. You'll have about 15 to 30 seconds. Look up for it. It's going to pop up on your screen. Make sure you elect whatever your response is. And back to my panelists, you are going to hear this sound at the 2-minute mark. And then, yep. And then you're going to hear this sound at the 1-minute mark. All right, and then once you guys are finished presenting, we're going to open up the floor for questions that have been submitted by our attendees. So attendees, listen up for your names. So I really want to start off by introducing LaKendra Robinson. She's going to be presenting The Power of No. And our poll question here for The Power of No: have you been viewed as difficult because you set a boundary or have said no?
So it's 8 p.m. on December 31st, 2019. My husband, my parents, and I, we're all gathered around the dining room table ready to create our 2020 vision boards. That's funny today, right? We spent 4.5 hours flipping through magazines and tearing out words and pictures that remind us of our goals for 2020. I've created vision boards for the past several years, and I'm sure many of you have too. They are a great representation of the goals and dreams that you want to accomplish. Regardless of how great your vision is, it will not accomplish itself. Goal setting gets you from point A to point B to point C, so on and so forth. It requires you dig deeper and outline details that you would otherwise overlook. Goal setting requires you to be intentional and specific about what you want. Most of us have used the SMART method when setting goals. You know, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely, all those things. However, I recommend using a different method. Hear me out. It's the 5 W's and how. You know, who, what, when, where, why, and of course, how. Here's what it looks like when it comes to goal setting. What is your goal? Who is it meant to benefit? And also, who can help you achieve that goal? Why is this goal important to you? Or in other words, what's the impact? For my entrepreneurial thinkers, what problem is your goal solving? How should you execute your goal? When should you start? When should you achieve it by? The question of where is my personal favorite because it forces you to be real with yourself. What type of environment should you be in to execute and achieve your goal? Where should your mindset be? Truthfully, you can't manifest certain goals because you are not in the physical or mental space for that goal to flourish. Again, SMART goals are good, but 5 W's and how goals are much better. Now you've set your goals, it's time to create some boundaries. I'm gonna lose a few of you here, but it's okay, just try to stick with me if you can. Boundaries are imaginary lines that separate you from everyone else around you. They separate your physical space, your feelings, your needs, and the responsibilities that you have from others. They teach people how to treat you, and they teach you how to value your time, your talents, and your treasures. Because boundaries are imaginary lines, no one can see or feel them except you. So it is ultimately your responsibility to tell others what your boundaries are. Identifying the words and actions that do not make you feel honored, respected, safe, and secure will help you create your boundaries. You will begin to recognize the personal authority you have over the decisions you make about your life. I encourage you to reevaluate your current boundaries, and probably set some new ones. Implement them and learn how to address them when they've been violated. Now, unfortunately, we can't talk about that today because I've only got 7 minutes, all right? So you're gonna have to Google that one on your own time. The domino effect from goal setting and enforcing your boundaries is you inherit the power to confidently say no to all of the things that don't serve you. We as women, we extend ourselves. It's a fact. We have a very difficult time saying no. If we didn't, I wouldn't be a panelist here today. We don't say no because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We don't want to disappoint anyone or feel like we've let anybody down. We want to be a team player. We want to seem agreeable. We also don't want to appear as threatening. Some of us even strive, yes, us, to say yes more than we say no. We do it to gain power in certain situations, to show others that we are superhuman, that we can change the world by 5, get the kids in bed by 7, exercise, drink copious amounts of water, have an active social life, and be in bed by 9 p.m. to get a full 8 hours of sleep. I'm exhausted just talking about it. When you don't say no enough, here's what it looks like. Your calendar is overbooked. You often have conflicting appointments. You've had unhealthy changes in your diet and changes in your sleeping habits, whether you're sleeping too much or you're not sleeping enough. You have changes in your overall physical and mental health. You're more stressed, you're tired, you're cranky, you're short-tempered, you laugh less, and you question more. You are not your normal self, and most times the people that are around you often realize it before you do. And when they call you out on it, guess what? You bite back. If you don't remember anything else I say today, remember this. No is an accountability measure for you and not for others. It is impossible for you to reach your goals and maintain your boundaries if you don't learn to say no. Saying no helps you keep alignment with your goals and all of the things that you hope to accomplish in the future. Now, I know all that sounds great, but the truth of the matter is most people don't know how to say no. We do not know how to say no. And when we do, we often feel guilty about it. So I'm going to give you a few tips to help you out. Tip 1, each year, create a list of things you will say yes to, whether it be certain meetings with individuals or colleagues in your network, whether it be 30 minutes of exercise a day or uninterrupted quality time with a loved one or friends. Put it on the list. 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages, does not matter. Use the 5 W's and how method to dig deeper. Once you've created your list, say no literally to everything that falls outside of that list. Number 2, adopt the broken record method. Give the same answer every time the same question is asked. Do not deviate from your script. It looks a little something like this. No, that doesn't work for me. No, I'm not taking on any more commitments. No, I'm unavailable. No, that doesn't work for me. No, I'm not taking on any commitments. You get the point. Don't feel compelled to overly justify your no. Make it swift and clear so the person that's asking you can move on to some other solution. And my final tip for today, give yourself some grace. You won't get it right every time and you won't say no every time. But if you practice saying no, you will get better at saying it and it will get easier. And you will begin to manifest all of the goals that you've outlined on that vision board. Thank you to the USF Alumni Association and all of the other partners and sponsors for giving me this opportunity to speak to you about one of my favorite topics, the power of saying no.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, LaKendria. Nuggets, nuggets, nuggets. We have to move along, but we got so many questions. We're going to circle back at the end of our presenters to see if we have some more time to ask some more questions. So thank you so much. Next, I want to introduce Dr. Nanette Vega. Now that you've been promoted, what's the next step? So Dr. Vega.
Thank you, Jessica, and good morning to everyone. Good morning, Bulls, and yes, empowered women empower women. Pleasure to be here with you today, and thank you for those nuggets of wisdom, LaKendria. I always say, every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to yourself, so put yourself first. I was taking lots of notes there. Thank you for sharing your presentation with us today. So, poll results. Are promotions easily attainable? 21% of you said yes, 79% of you said no. Okay, so let's go into our presentation over the next 5 minutes. I will be going over promoted now what? We have a PowerPoint for you. I believe that should be on the screen. Thank you. So promoted now what? Over the next 5 minutes, I will help you create a plan for success, because if you fail to plan, plan to fail. So yes, even though you were hired for the job, you still need to have a plan. Next slide, please. So you've been promoted. Transitions are a critical time for leaders. In fact, moving into a new role is the biggest challenge you will face. While transitions offer a chance at a fresh start, they also place you in a very vulnerable position as you are new to the organization, or maybe were promoted within the organization. Missteps made during this time can jeopardize or derail your success. So it's important to have a plan. So when you're promoted, this is what it looks like, right? It's a great day, everyone's celebrating. Maybe you receive some flowers as your welcome, but next slide. You soon learn this is what an actual promotion feels like, right? It's daunting. Where do you start? Next slide. So what do you do? One suggestion or one best practice is to create a flexible plan for the first 90 days of your new position, your new job that will set you up for success. Why create a plan? It shows great understanding of the role. It shows that you're enthusiastic and you're ready to take on the challenge, or as I would say, the opportunity. It shows good work ethic, and it portrays that you are an invaluable hire. You have gone above and beyond. You did your due diligence before the official start of your job. Next slide, please. So the first 30 days should be focused on understanding not only the process, but the people, products maybe within your organization. The next 60 days should focus on evaluating the current processes and evaluating possible changes. And then the last 30 days, which put you on the 90-day mark, is to optimize. Initiate the action plan. Focus on those early wins and implement new strategies and procedures. So for the first 30 days, next slide. For the first 30 days, you should just focus on getting acquainted with your new role. And again, sometimes your job description does not encompass everything that you will be responsible for. There's always a line at the end of your job descriptions, other duties as assigned, and you'll probably be spending a lot of time figuring out what that is. So your objective over the next 30 days is really to understand the team, the organization, the services that you provide, and the constituents that you serve. And you are building, your goal is to build credibility, not only for yourself, but within the organization. So you will be seen as someone who is learning. So you have to remain a learner. Don't go in there thinking you know everything, right? Remain a learner, remain vulnerable. And your job is to connect with the organization. Again, the 30 days is focusing on understanding. Next slide. The next 30 days, which will put you in the 60-day mark, is about evaluation. You will learn about the processes and procedures within your organization. And again, you have an outside perspective. You'll be able to identify strengths and weaknesses within your organization, within your team members, stakeholders, and you'll be able to determine how to best allocate resources for optimum impact. You'll want to create or conduct what I call a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities that will transform the team at large. Again, not increasing the budget or anything like that. It's working within the existing organization and existing resources. How do you capitalize on existing human and financial capital? Next slide, please. And the last 90 days, again, it's about optimization, right? The last 30 days, at this stage, you should already have a well-grounded view and about your role, and you've identified gaps and areas of improvement. This is the time to launch and implement ideas that will address critical issues that you have seen within the last 90 days, so 3 months. Remember, your plan needs to be smart and data-driven, right? Best practices, so SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Next slide. Your guiding questions throughout your process, and again, I focus on the first 90 days because that is critical for your transition into the organization. But in your role, the guiding questions are as follows. How will I create value? What do key stakeholders expect from me? How will my progress be measured? Whose support will I need? How can I create early wins? And this should pretty much drive your first year within the organization. I included some references, and one of the books that I highly recommend, actually 2 books, I don't get any kickback from any of these books. These books have been, again, invaluable resources in my transitions and many roles within the university and externally as well. The First 90 Days by Michael Watkins. It's a very easy read. You can purchase it on Amazon. Also included some free resources through the Harvard Business Review, some articles that may be of use as well. So again, now that you have a plan, I wish you much success in your new role. That concludes my presentation today. And I included my contact information. If you have any questions, I wish you all the best of luck. And remember, if you don't remember anything from this presentation, please make a plan or you will plan to fail. Thank you all today and have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Vega. I will say I have started implementing SMART goals myself this year, and it has really just transformed having goals and making them a reality. So I thank you for that. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next panelist, Jackie. So Jackie Stiff. All right, attendees, and please be sure to go ahead and answer these poll questions.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Jackie, and I'm going to tell you a little bit how social media has transformed my life. And let me see, the poll here you guys shared is how to use your social media. Do you use it for leisure, professional, education? Most of us, as I do as well, use it for all of the above. So funny story, I'll tell you a little bit about who I am. I am a beauty and lifestyle content creator, mostly in the space of natural hair. That's where I got started. If you could put up the slide here. I did a big transformation starting back in 2015 from pretty much my hair was damaged, heat damaged. It was a mess. And back then I had just had my daughter. So the slide on the left is me. And the one on the right is my hair now. But basically, I started this page on Instagram as a journal, really is what I did. And I wanted to track my progress on my natural hair journey. It really got started because I have 3 curly daughters, and I remember my middle child, Jada, I was straightening my hair in the bathroom one day, as most of us do, and she was just staring at me in awe, and she tells me, I love your hair. It's so pretty. And I look at her because all my daughters have curly hair. So I was like, Jada, I love your hair. It's beautiful. And she just looked at me puzzled and walked away, kind of, distraught. Like, what is she talking about? I don't even like my own hair. So it hit me that day that I was like, you know what? I'm not showing my kids how to love themselves. I'm pretty much showing them how to fix something that is wrong with them. And that's not the way that I wanted my girls to pretty much see themselves. I want them to be confident young ladies. So that day I pretty much went down a rabbit hole of this whole social media space of trying to learn how to care for their natural hair. And somehow it just spiraled into me learning how to care for my natural hair, which I didn't even think was possible. As you can see, this was what I was dealing with. So I started a page called My Curly Chronicles to keep it as a journal for everyone to see pretty much my transition. I was documenting what worked, what didn't work, and what could change. And somehow, because my kids were bouncing in the background as I was trying to do these transitional videos and pictures, people related to it. So what happened from there is that I started getting companies pretty much contacting me as my transition progressed from the left side to the right side. I started having companies contact me like, hey, we want you to promote our products. What's your rate? And I was like, you want to pay me to use your shampoo and your conditioner? Yes, please, because I was already spending a lot of money. We have 4 girls in our house. There's a lot of women here with a lot of hair. So it was, at the time, I was pretty much dealing with postpartum depression. I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should have. When I started my journey, I was pretty much making, everything that I was making was down to, $10 at the end of the paycheck, because I was paying for daycare, I was paying for diapers. Anyone who has had children, this is not cheap. And we have 3 kids. We had just bought a home. So finances were really scarce. So it became a blessing. I was working a 9-to-5, and then on the side, I was couponing and trying to scrounge every dollar that I could to pay for these expensive curly hair products to try to transform my hair, to try to get my kids to love themselves. Like, go figure. It was a full circle moment. So what happened from there is that going through postpartum depression, starting to care for my natural hair, and then starting to see the transition, somehow I kind of realized that this visual, like I could visually see that just taking care and loving on something and seeing the changes and seeing it blossom, seeing it transform, was actually making a bigger impact, not just on my self-esteem, but also in my kids, because now I was able to compliment them. I was able to help them see how beautiful their natural crowns are. And in the process of me sharing all of this, I was also able to help other women to make those changes as well. If we can go to slide 2. This is one of my friends. She was an avid user of keratin treatments, and she dyed her hair a lot. She was pretty much killing her hair as you knew it, losing her edges, all that good stuff. And I convinced her to no ends. She was really hesitant to go natural because she didn't want to have to go through the entire process. Most of us don't like processes. And she's also a mother of 2 children. Just like a lot of moms, and to Lakendra's point, a lot of times we're so busy trying to be everything for everyone and excel at work, drink our water, be this great mom, be this great wife, that we put ourselves on the very bottom. I did that, and my friend Yankeli did that, and I started kind of talking her through the process, and she was very hesitant, but she did the transition, and now she has this gorgeous crown of hair. And Yankeli is the most positive, upbeat, confident woman that I've ever seen. And if we go to slide 3, these are also 2 very close friends of mine as well that, if you can see, their transitions have been major too. Also moms, also busy working professionals. And the women that I've been able to impact and see throughout these changes, throughout this journey of mine, just sharing what I experienced on social media has been amazing and really eye-opening. And to go from a full 9 to 5 to doing this full time has allowed me to find so much purpose, because now I can empower women, not just through natural hair, but now I'm talking to them about, it really starts from within and how you feel about yourself.
Jackie,
Jessica,
for
time
sharing.
me.
Thank you. No, you're good. Thank you so much. And thank you for just empowering women and starting with your daughters, right? It's like the gift that keeps giving. Like, you're just instilling that confidence in them. That's just going to continue. So thank you so much for sharing. We're going to hold our questions for the end, but Jackie, you had a lot of questions coming in. Definitely want to encourage our attendees. Please post your questions in the chat so that we can make sure we're getting your questions answered at the end of the presentations. But thank you again, Jackie.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to introduce Beverly Andre. She's going to be presenting a struggle, career versus love life.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Beverly Andre, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I'm going to be talking about career and your personal life, kind of balancing out what does it look like to have a love life, a personal life, and a career. This topic is really interesting to me because I have a lot of clients who come in and they're like, I want to have a bomb career. I want to have, an awesome partner, and I want to do all these things that we see on social media that constitutes as relationship goals. But I struggle with figuring out, how do I balance it? How do I make this happen? How do I still have self-care time? And I always think about how the questions, it's always, how can I have this all right now? How can I have this all right now in this moment? And so I want to kind of give you guys some insight into some of the concerns that perpetuate the struggle between love and work life, and kind of give you some resources to help you with that. Samantha, if you could have the slide up, please. Thank you. And then you can just go forward to the identifying the problem. So when it comes to identifying the problem, I wanted to do a really quick survey, and I did it off of Instagram. You can keep going, Samantha. You can keep going. It's okay. Okay, so I did the Instagram poll, and I really want to know, like, hey guys, like, what's going on with you all when it comes to figuring out how to have it all, essentially what contributes towards those issues. And so some of the overarching themes that came up was, once again, work-life balance, fear of disappointing my partner or love interest if they're dating, how to communicate my needs, how to express myself, and also having a lack of energy. And I find that these concerns range from people who are single, who are dating, and also folks who are engaged and married as well. And when we have majority of women in the workforce, whether it's entrepreneurship or working for someone else, that takes the most of our time in a day, pretty much. And then you have to come home, and whatever your role is, you have to give energy into that. So I can see how, if you are in a relationship, or if you're a wife or whatnot, you work a 8-hour day, 9-hour day, considering traffic, coming home and doing all of your roles at home. It's like, okay, now I have to pour into my partner, or I have to get myself fixed up to go on this date, but I really want to take a nap. So how do I encourage myself to do that? Communicating your needs to your partner. If you are tired and you want to have a date night, or you feel like they need to step up, how do I tell my partner, hey, the space that I'm in right now, I need you to do a little bit more, because right now I don't have that capacity, or I don't feel that my love language is being fulfilled right now, and I need you to step it up. There's a fear of disappointing your partner, or if you do express those needs, that it might cause a fight. So it's how do I balance all of these things? If you can move forward, Samantha. So I always think about how can we reframe career versus love life. You can go to the next slide. If we continue to use the word versus, then we are perpetuating an ongoing conflict. We're not looking for a solution. It's like you're in the middle and you're being tugged. So if we reframe it to career and love, then we're moving forward to a little bit more solution-oriented approach. So how can I find a balance somehow? So 3 tips is to identify and communicate your needs. So if you are having a day and let's say you have a work day and there's an unexpected project that came up, go ahead and just let that person know, hey, something came up. I know I'm not able to make that date right now, but let's go ahead and reschedule for this day. So you're moving with intention because you're rescheduling and you're having a concrete date. When you set attainable goals and you recognize the limits of your control, you're not trying to do the most. You're not trying to do things that's that's not within your power, because obviously if you can set attainable goals, then you know this is what I'm able to do. And then we're not continuing the cycle of I'm not doing enough, or I'm consistently failing. And then you're looking externally and you're starting to compare yourself to other people who seems or who appears to be able to do everything. And so once again, moving with intention and being accountable. If you say you're going to do something with your partner, do it. If you're unable for whatever reason, take accountability and be able to say, hey, I want to reschedule, or I feel really tired and I think we should do another option or a plan B. But when you don't move with intention, then you are starting that path of disappointment, because it's like, I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know your thoughts. I don't know what your concerns are. And it's easy to let things drift by and be very passive. And so to limit that disappointment, I do recommend that everyone, be a little bit more intentional and accountable for your choices. You can go to the next slide, Samantha. So a few resources in, we have the Love Nudge app. And why I really love this app is because if you're in a relationship or you're dating, anything under the sun, situationship, you are able to tell that person, hey, my love language is not being met right now. And so you can give your partner indicators, and they can see a scale of, okay, your love tank is a little bit low. Let me do things to kind of fill up that love tank. And you're also able to respond back and kind of give them a nudge so that they're reminded in a non-confrontational way that, you need a little bit more affection or whatever that you do need. We have Facebook dating. They have gotten really creative. So if you're not trying to do Tinder or Bumble, Facebook dating, if you have an event that you're going to or any groups that you are in and you see someone who seems interesting that you want to connect with, they have it so that you can directly connect and do more intimate conversations with that person versus in that group setting or event setting. You're able to kind of break down your likes and your interests, and it's safe, socially distant safe, so you don't have to necessarily go out and meet that person. And also there's the Gottman Card Decks app. And with that app, you're able to have conversations, different topics. There's prompts. If you struggle with relaying your emotions, they have starter sentences. So I feel statements. And they also have like a range of different classifications of emotions. So if you struggle with expressing yourself, this is a great app for you to have. If you have any questions or concerns, or you're looking for therapy services, please visit my website, beheartcounseling.com. I do primarily work with Black and Brown women, but I also work with couples and those who don't identify themselves as Black and Brown. Thank you, USF Black Alumni and Latino Alumni Association, for the opportunity. And I look forward to working with y'all again.
Beverly, thank you so much. Can I just say, this topic is I'm hacking all the questions on this topic after, because this is so near and dear as a single professional. And you just said something that was so powerful. It's, instead of it being or versus, what about and? So it's just like a total shift in mindset. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next panelist, Bemitra Simmons. She's going to be discussing the corporate homie.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me. We've got a couple of poll questions out there. Has it been a struggle to code switch? And do you apologize for your urbanness? I love that question. And I'm assuming, Jessica, I'll be able to see the results here shortly.
Yes,
All right.
seconds here.
Great. All right. So about 45% of you said you do struggle with, it has been a struggle to code switch. About 55% say no. And 16% say yes, you do struggle with your urbanness, and 84% say no. So that's great. So corporate America is a very interesting place where it is full of unwritten rules that nobody tells you, but you're being held accountable to them and judged against them basically every day, all day. And so many years ago, I'm going to dinners, happy hours, unhappy hours with my friends, and it did not matter if they were accountants or lawyers or architects or college professors or principals, you name it. Everyone was dealing with the same issues, which is dealing with these, unwritten rules, internal politics, hidden landmines. And so my twin sister and I decided to form a podcast to talk about this. That if you had friends at work, if you had homies at work, what kind of advice would you give? So we started this podcast called The Corporate Homie to start to talk about this and ways to maneuver the language of corporate America. And one of the first things that we learned is that, the biggest thing you can do is to be prepared, right? So I say that competence brings confidence. So when you are prepared for meetings, when you are prepared for what's going to happen, it takes some of that anxiety away. One of the biggest things that I think that a lot of times we don't know as Black and brown people is that everything in the meeting matters. What time you get to the meeting, where you sit in the meeting, who you sit next to. All of this means something, right? It all has a power dynamic to it. We don't necessarily know that, right? Being prepared is the small things, right? Getting on the conference call a couple of minutes early and making sure that your video works right now in this Zoom environment. Bringing an extra copy when back in the day when we had face-to-face meetings. I feel like every meeting there's an extra person that shows up there and somebody's like, oh, we can share. Those little things go a long way to make you be a superstar at work. The second thing you can do is you've got to be visible. We like to say on the Corporate Homie podcast, you cannot be diverse and mysterious. People promote people that they know. They promote people that they like. They write letters of recommendation. They recommend you for special projects. They can't do that if they don't know you, if you never go to lunch with people, if you never talk about your weekend. One of my favorite phrases is, these white people are always in my business. They always ask me how my weekend is. They're actually just being polite. They really don't care. They're really just trying to connect with you. And it's very easy to connect with people on a hobby level. Do you like to cook? What sports? Favorite teams? Go Bulls, go Tigers, whoever that may be. So you've got to be visible at work. You also need to be coachable. I cannot stress this enough. Everybody has a coach. Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. Serena Williams has a swing coach. Tiger Woods has a swing coach. Kobe Bryant had a coach. Superstars are coachable. The same thing has to be true at work. If you're somebody who cannot take criticism, and as I like to say, all criticism is not hate. Sometimes it's actually true. And you've got to be able to embrace that and pivot and make small adjustments that can have a big impact on your career. But if you're not coachable, people will leave you alone, and then you're not going to get promoted. And then all the advice about what to do when you get promoted is not going to be applicable to you because you're going to be in the same role that you've always been in. The other thing I would say for us as Black and brown people is you've got to be intentional about your career. No one will have more interest in your career than you do. So you need to think about, we talked about goal setting, where you want to go, and then how do you manifest that within your organization. When I was younger in my career, I was not good at speaking up in my review sessions about what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. And so they had decided, because I had gone to college in Memphis and I worked in our Memphis office, that I wanted to stay in Memphis. As you guys heard, I grew up in 10 states and 3 countries. I didn't care anything about staying in Memphis, but I didn't tell them that I was relocatable. Once I expressed that, I was gone within 6 months with a new opportunity in Charlotte. So you have to express yourself where you want to go and be intentional about your career. One of my favorite speakers said one time that stuck with me. She said, all major decisions about your career are made when you are not in the room. Are you going to get promoted? How much money are you going to make? Nobody comes to you and says, hey, Demetri, would you like a 10% raise or a 15% raise? Do you want this position? Do you want that position? Which means you've got to express yourself where you're going to people within your organization so that they can advocate for you while you are not in the room. That is why it's important to connect with people. I was saying earlier about being visible so they can be that advocate for you, be that ally, be that coach for you when you're not in the room. The other thing that I would say is you've got to be authentic. You have to be yourself, right? There is no, first of all, it's the easiest thing to be, right? We're at work so long, it's very difficult to be somebody that you're not. And what I mean by that is if you don't like the opera, don't act like you like the opera at work, right? If people ask us all the time, like, oh, you guys wear your natural hair. I'm like, well, do you want to work somewhere where you can't wear your natural hair? Is that the type of culture that you want to work in? I don't want to work somewhere where I cannot be myself. So being authentic is incredibly important. And it's also, it also allows you to be comfortable. You're going to spend 8 to 10 hours or more a day at work. And I can't imagine trying to be somebody else all day. That's got to be very taxing on your mental health and on you physically, trying to be somebody that you are not. The other thing that I would say is you've got to be a team player. No one likes to work with the person that's just about themselves. I saw all the memes about the coronavirus, and it feels like a group project and nobody's doing their part but you. That's how work is as well. Nobody wants to be on a team where the person is only about themselves. They're only going to do the bare minimum that they can to get the job done. As I always say, you want to do the spirit of the task, not the actual task. And I'll give you an example. We were having a meeting for our advisory board, and I'd asked my assistant to order us food, get the food, and put it in the conference room. And she put all the food in the conference room in the bags, didn't take it out, didn't lay it out, just set the bags in there. And I said, man, why didn't you set that out? She said, you didn't ask me to do that. And I thought, I've got to get a new assistant because I got to get somebody that's going to help me win, that's going to do the spirit of the task. The last thing that I would say is never apologize for being ambitious. Ambition is a good thing. Ambition is what you want to do. So you want to be bold and take your steps, about how to get there. So if you don't remember anything else I say today, remember this. Every major decision about your career is made when you're not in the room. So you want to be intentional about your brand so that people can say good things about you and can help you get to where you want to go. Thank you very much for letting me share, and thank you guys for having me this morning.
Thank you, Demetri. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next presenter, Rachel Keene, and she is going to do the recap. So following Rachel, we're going to open the floor up for questions. Don't forget to please submit your questions in the group chat, okay? We can see you, Rachel. Yeah.
Oh, you can? I can't see myself. I'm sorry. All right. So I apologize for that. That's awesome. So what it looked like from that, where for the majority of the folks, I think it was 99% of you guys said you do feel empowered to take the next step. And that is amazing. You guys brought me so much joy today. I feel so inspired and so motivated. And I love these types of panels where you just have these amazing women, amazing people come on and just share their gifts, show up in a way that they can tell us about what they know and how to move forward and give those types of tips. And it really feels inspiring to me. And what we just want to make sure is that when you leave here today, you don't not only feel inspired and motivated, but you actually do something about it, right? That you actually put some of these things that we learned in place, right? And I think one of the biggest themes I learned from today, hearing from these wonderful women, is about self-love, about the fact that you loving yourself and you loving the parts of yourself that you may want to change, that you may want to be different, is like the very first step that you can take in order to move yourself forward, in order to be intentional about where you want your career to go. It's because you love yourself and to know that you deserve more. Where you want the hair out of your head to grow, it's because you love yourself enough to let that be your authentic self and take care of yourself and heal yourself and replenish it. Because you want to find the partner of your dreams, because you love yourself to find somebody who's going to give that to you, as well as setting boundaries, because it's important for you to know what you will tolerate and what you will not tolerate, because you have identified that that love for yourself is oh so important. And because you love yourself enough, you will set a plan and you will set a strategy at your job to say, this is what I want. And I know, and I'm smart enough to identify where there are gaps and where things need to change. All of that is derived and built out of the idea that you are taking care of yourself and that you love yourself. And when you take care of yourself and when you thrive, others around you thrive. And, you know, I think sometimes as women, we kind of get out of we think, oh, we have to take care of the kids. We got to take care of our family, friends, all of that. And we put ourselves last, but prioritizing yourself first, as you see, really pushes you forward and helps you be a lot more intentional about what you want in your life. I loved hearing from LaKendria talk about the fact that you can create this list of what you will say yes to, whether it's your meetings, it's to certain individuals. You can do this for yourself, 30 minutes a day of exercise, and anything that falls outside of that, you say no, because you're choosing yourself. And Dr. Vega, having a plan or planning to fail, thank you so much for outlining so clearly what can be done as next steps. And I have a little bit more to add to that too, and I will move through that. And Jackie, thank you so much, because when you're right, when you do show up authentically, you create the space for others to do the same, because you walked in your truth. And that's exactly that vulnerability that you showed and that authenticity. It really shows that you take care of yourself, and pushing yourself influences your daughters and your viewers and all of that. Beverly, having the actionable steps to put out there because they're within your control, and you maximize your ability to be intentional. And obviously, Bamitra, you show us that every major decision about our career is happening when we're not necessarily in the room, and being intentional about what people know about us and what people say is very, very important. And for me, I think the biggest message here is you only get one life, you get one body, you get one mind. You take care of yourself lovingly, and you show yourself grace. A quick tip to build on to the SMART tool that everybody kept mentioning, I think action begets action. If you're going to do something and you feel empowered, you have to do something. Even if it's a small step towards your goal, you have to do something. Do anything. Even if you're afraid, do it scared. And a tool that I like to use with my coaching clients is called the AIM SMART tool. So it enhances it a bit with respect to the SMART tool. So AIM stands for, it's AIM, so the acronym. You identify what is the acceptable minimum, the least possible step that you could take today to move forward to your goal. And then you idea the I, what is the ideal step that you can take to move forward? So, right, so I want to lose 30 pounds in a year. The minimum that I can do is start walking 3 times a week, to working out 7 days a week, cutting my calories, right? Or however that works. And what's the middle ground? What's the middle most reasonable place that is a stretch for you, that will challenge you, but it still moves you forward, and it's not completely unreasonable as where you'll get overwhelmed. And then you apply the SMART process to that middle goal that you've identified. And the SMART process, you must be specific,
what's the specific first step that you're going to take, and build it down into small increments. Build it down. A week from now, what is the specific step that I can take? Make sure that it's measurable. Make sure that you understand what success is so that you can decide when you're at the other end of that week, you've met success. Make sure it's achievable. The answer to this is yes or no. Is it possible? Yes. If it's not, then go back and reformulate that goal, because it may be too far reaching, because it won't be possible to accomplish. Is it reasonable? How reasonable is it given all of your competing priorities, given your money, your time, everything going on in your life? Is it reasonable to accomplish this goal within the time frame you set? The answer is yes, all power to you. And is it time oriented? Have you set up a time in order for you to get this done? And when will it get done? And most important is, how do you make sure you're accountable? How do you ensure that you're going to be accountable to accomplish these goals? Are you going to tap into your community to help check in on you? Are you going to be accountable to yourself? All of these things, when you're formulating your plan, making sure you actually follow up on it is so, so important. And of course, celebrate, because you got to celebrate each win. Each week you do something. Give yourself a pat on the back, buy yourself some booze, do whatever you need to do to keep yourself motivated, because I love celebrating. I will make sure everybody knows how amazing you are, and you should need to tell everybody how amazing you are. And so this is just really quick tips that you can use. And, you know, I love this kind of stuff. Obviously, I have a lot of energy when talking about it. And feel free to reach out to me, and because it's a lot, right? And if you want, we can take 15, 30 minutes, have a call, formulate that plan together. I invite you to come join me. I can help you learn to set up some of those goals, and we can support putting a plan in place and setting up some accountability. So really awesome. So excited to be here. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. And I'm going to ask all the ladies if you can please share your video. So all the panelists, we're going to throw some questions out here, just being respectful of everybody's time. We had a lot of phenomenal questions. I'm going to open this question up to all the ladies on the panel. So how to be visible as the only minority and only female in the room without fulfilling some of the negative stereotypes, such as being too bold, coming off too strong, or being a gunner? And this is by non-minority peers. So by our counterparts, how do we not become threatening? Or
I would say the first thing is to realize and shift your mindset and really embrace the fact that you are the only woman or only minority in a room. That in and of itself is your power. That gives you leverage to be able to speak on issues, to be bold, to be direct in a way that no one else in the room has the opportunity to do. For much of my career, I've been the only, and specifically working through diversity, equity, and inclusion issues. And there's no one else in the room that can speak on that more eloquently than I can. So if that means that I have to almost go toe to toe with someone to make them understand how my viewpoint helps shift the culture or the mindset of the organization, then that is my responsibility. But I do think that first and foremost, really shift your mindset to understand that being the only in a room, in a situation, is your power, and you should use that.
I agree with LaKendria. It's an advantage, right? And you have a unique voice, which is why you're in the room, right? They already have the perspective of the middle-aged white guy, so they don't need that perspective. They need your perspective. And I have seen countless situations where I was able to take my being female, my being Black at the time, my being younger, and bring something to the table that they had not even thought about. So I wouldn't think of it as a negative. The other thing I would say is men don't worry about being too ambitious. They don't worry about talking over people. They'll cut you off and repeat what you just said and act like it was their idea. So I would say we need to shift our own mindset. Again, be yourself, because that's your superpower. That's your advantage.
Demetra, we have a question specifically for you. If your goal is to open your own business and leave your firm, should you express these intentions to your employer? If so, how soon do you express the intentions to your employer?
I would not tell my employer that I was intending to leave them, right? That's like telling somebody that you dating, like, hey, I met somebody new, they're better than you, I'm gonna be leaving you in 3 months. No, I wouldn't do that, right? But what I would do is ask for assignments and things that are gonna help me run my own business, right? So I would, for example, ask for, hey, I know we're gonna have a group of so-and-so, I'd love to lead that discussion. I'd like to have an opportunity to help with the new branch that's opening up. So you get some of that entrepreneurial experience within your existing role. But to the extent that I was unclear, do not tell your existing employer that you're planning to piece up and out. That's not what you want to do at all.
Thank you. Nanette, a specific question for you. How do you handle imposter syndrome once you're in the role?
Well, here's a secret. You will always have imposter syndrome. It's something that at every stage of my career, I continue to battle with. But I think that, one of the ways that we can, I guess, embrace imposter syndrome is by becoming a person of value. If you're waiting for someone to recognize the value you bring, you may well be waiting forever. You have to recognize your worth. If you want to work on a project, you need to speak up. If you want to lead the team, you need to say so. No one will appreciate your contributions until you appreciate yourself, right? So work to become known as the person that can be counted on. And then also seek mentors, people that embody those ideals or values or skills that you look up to as a role model. Seek role models, seek mentors at all stages of their career. I have mentors all around the country for a variety of different things in my career. And as you continue to develop yourself, build your confidence, surround yourself with people that empower you, like this group, right? That imposter syndrome little monster, the voice gets quieter and quieter, right? But it's something that you have to continuously work on. But you have to know your stuff. You have to put in the work. You have to speak with confidence. You have to stop trying to be a people pleaser. You have to know your stuff and then some. Play on your strengths. If you can identify what's unique in your background, use those skills to your advantage. To the point that one of the women said before, being the only woman I am in a male-dominated profession, I speak to my strengths. I play on my strengths. And if you don't have those skills you need to succeed, go out and learn them. You cannot fake it till you make it. It takes a lot of work to get there. You have to invest in yourself, because if you don't invest in yourself, no one will.
Thank you. Thank you. Jackie, a question for you. What hair products do you use, and do you have any recommendations of products or procedures for Black women, Black and brown women?
I actually have an array of products for all different hair types. My daughters, like in my house alone, we have type 3 to type 4. And this might be new language for everybody, but basically we have everything from a wave and a curl to a kink and a coil. And all of that information, I have an Amazon shop specifically. The link in my bio is in my Instagram, but I can probably share it with Jessica or Luz for you guys, where I specifically set this up so that it can be easy for you to find products that I recommend, and even products that I recommend for the kids, because their textures are a little bit more tighter, a little bit more curlier. And of course, everyone learns differently. So I post on my Instagram detailed posts about what we use and how we do it. And then for those visual learners, I have YouTube tutorials that go everything from detangling to deep conditioning to how to do a wash and go or do a protective style. So there's something there for everybody. So follow me at Just Like Jackie's. Shameless plug.
Thank you. And just to let everybody know, all of our attendees, this video is going to be posted. So you will get an email after our presentation. Question for you, Beverly. What was the biggest fear you had about launching your business?
Starting. I think when you are contemplating making a life change, that you run through all the thoughts of why this is not going to work. And there's never a counterbalance of, well, what if it does work? Literally yesterday I tweeted, sis, is this what you were afraid of in terms of starting my practice? I've been in practice officially for 3 months. And when we embrace failures, and I say failures because they're really life lessons. When we embrace life lessons as a part of our process, then we're not, once again, in a combative stance with it. We know that this is a byproduct of living. This is a byproduct of learning, that you're going to have those missteps, but it is imperative to have them in order to acquire that wisdom that is needed. I've never heard of anyone gaining wisdom and having a carefree, smooth-free life. And so when it came to starting Be Heart, starting was the biggest thing, just getting out of my head and just saying, it's okay to take this risk, because if I can help somebody else build their own dream and their big and their own brands, why can I take that risk for my own self and my own dreams?
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to give a round of applause for you ladies. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. A powerhouse of women. Thank you. Yes, thank you for sharing your nuggets. Really just want to thank everybody again for whoever, for our attendees that not only signed up, but showed up today. And also following the event, just to remind you, we will be sending out an email with resources from our panelists. So be on the lookout for the Black Alumni and Latino Alumni Society will be sharing what we've discussed today, and also any upcoming plans for the rest of the year. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who took the time today. Thank you to our amazing women, our panelists, and go Bulls.
Actually, there's one more question in the chat.
Yes, let me see. Go ahead.
The question is, how do you find the right mentor for you, and how do you ask? It's a great question. So, Lakendrio, actually, would you like to take this one on? I know Dr. Vega spoke about it a little bit, but would you like to take this one on?
Yeah, so now my answer is going to be a bit unorthodox, but just hear me out here, right? Okay, so when you're looking for a mentor, first you have to identify why you're looking for a mentor. What are you looking for that person to add value to in your life? Because let me tell you, a person that agrees to be your mentor is not going to be your mentor if you don't come to the table with clear and outlined objectives of what they can help you with. So you really have to identify what you're looking for. And then once you have that list, as you can tell, I'm a fan of lists, then you find a mentor that embody or have demonstrated success in achieving those particular things. Now, what I would say in terms of asking a mentor is, of course, there's that initial outreach, inviting them to coffee on their time. Yes, please pay for their coffee or their lunch or their dinner or their happy hour or whatever it is. Also, make sure that when you're asking to meet with a potential mentor, that you meet them on their time. So if that means it is at 7 a.m., then guess what? You need to go and you need to meet them at 7 a.m. if it's an hour drive from wherever you are, because again, you're asking this person for their time, their talents, their expertise, and their treasures. And so when you guys meet, fill it out, see if that person is going to work well with your personality, see if they would even be a really great fit to give you pointers and tips on the things that you're looking for. And then you can just formally ask, hey, be honest, I've never really done this before, or I don't have a mentor, or I have a mentor, but would you be interested in serving as my mentor? And then let them think about it or give you an answer then. Or you could kind of do what I do and just kind of keep calling and texting and asking them for advice until they tell you no or until they ignore you. So there's two different options, but you at least want to try to ask if you can, if it's someone that you've never met, to be a bit more formal. But in terms of building a relationship with someone that could be your unofficial mentor, you just keep kind of calling and texting and asking their expertise. Thank them for that expertise. Also, I'm going to give you a quick tip and then I'm going to stop talking. If you have a mentor, it will behoove you to know their birthday, their anniversary, their favorite sports, their favorite activities. So as a thank you, you can send them nice notes or gifts that represent those things that they like, to show them that you appreciate the time that they are taking to pour into you to develop. And that's it.
Thank you, ladies. Any more questions from our producers in the background? Any more questions?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, ladies, so much. I've learned so much from all of you, and thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom. I know I took a lot away from Demetria, Dr. Vega, Jackie, Rachel, Beverly, and LaKendria. And so I've been convicted this weekend. That's all I could say.
This has been amazing. The chat is going crazy. We're getting a lot of questions. So what we will do, not taking Jessica's thunder, is we will follow up with a thank you and all of our panelists' contact information so that you have that accessible to you, whether it is their social media or their business email address, so that you may reach out to them. But on behalf of the USF Black Alumni and Latino Alumni Society, and just all women, all men that were on this chat, thank you, because honestly, you gave us all life today. I can't even deal. I am just enamored. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. All right, well, that concludes our presentation. Thank you again, ladies. And for our attendees, be on the lookout for follow-up email and newsletters to come out, okay? Bye-bye. Have a great weekend. Go Bulls!
Oh my God.